Thank you very much. Very nice to be with you today, and sorry for not being present with you. I will share now my screen. I'm really happy to share what we do at Ÿnsect. We are based in France, in Netherlands, and in the US, and we are there to contribute to a new food chain, supply chain. So we founded the company 10 years ago with my three founders. Our DNA is really the impact. We wanted to build something that makes sense and that is useful for humankind. And we know, according to a lot of different publications, that we are reaching very big threatening limits and boundaries called by different scientists over pollution, over climate change, biodiversities, or ecosystems, which are in a really endangered situation. On these different boundaries, really climate change, pollution, and ecosystem biodiversity is at a critical point, what we call tipping points, where it will be very difficult to get back to a normal situation if we don't do something the next 2 decades. Food and agriculture are the second contributor to climate change after energy. And even if we don't, we are not able to, but we will reach the full replacement of renewables, of fossil fuel by renewables. We will not reach the Paris COP21 agreements. We need to act also on agriculture and methane, which is the second largest contributor of greenhouse gas after the carbon dioxide. And I think it was a big emphasis on this methane topic at the COP26 in Glasgow a few days ago. But we don't. Also, we need to remind that ecosystem and biodiversity is critical also for our lives. And the major impacts there are land use, and it's mainly deforestations, direct exploitation, which is mainly overfishing, global warming, and pollution, which is coming mainly from pesticides and chemical fertilizers. So a lot coming from agriculture. So agriculture is the first victim of global warming, but also one of the first origin. And this is why we need to act and to really invert these hazardous trends and avoid tipping points in the two coming decades, as it has been warned by the scientists from the IPCC or the IPBS consortiums. So Ÿnsect is part of this journey to contribute there in this global coalition to reinvent the food chain and provide natural, healthy, and sustainable ingredients for everyone. And this is what we do with our small insect, mealworms. It's a natural alternative protein and fertilizer. We have a lot of benefits and worked on this with scientists over the past decade and a lot of different end users, customers. We have been proving two main positive impacts on health, like reduction of mortality on salmons, on shrimps, but also reduction of skin disease on dogs and cats, on chickens. And recently for humans, we achieved 2 preclinical trials, so it's on mice, showing very big reduction of cholesterol content in the liver and in the blood, and a reduction of inflammation also in the guts. So very, very interesting benefits there on health, but it's also about nutrition, performance. All the animals we have been fed with the insect products are growing faster, from trouts, chicken, but also shrimps or salmons, for instance. And then it's a very positive thing for the farmers. And this all together, you have more with less, which is the motto of the sustainability. You do more production with less impact. And then it's less climate emissions, less water consumption. If you do more animals with less feed, and more plants with less fertilizers, because you are more efficient, you have less mortality and better yield, then you are saving a lot of emissions and consumptions. And overall, we have more sequestration and avoided emissions than the emissions of our company and its value chain upstreams. This is also to mention in human food, which is a growing interest for us and for the insect sector. It's really this amazing balance between plants and animals. We are basically eventually as sustainable as plant-based proteins, 20 times less emission at chicken and 200 times less than beef. but as nutritional as milk, which is the best ingredient on the market today in terms of nutrition and health. And you see two different clinical trials done with universities, as good in terms of muscle generation than milk, or even and with health benefits and cholesterol, as I mentioned just before. So altogether, we are addressing several of the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN. And it's not just about the product, it's how we do it. We are a B Corp company, so it's fully labeled also a good example of all our commitments to environment, but also social and governance related matters. We have a full tracking of emissions within our ERP IT tools and a lot of social innovation in the company. So that's about the products and the impact. And how we do it, it's through our different technological platforms embedded in what we call a vertical farm. We have 2 farms being in operations now for about 5 years in France and in Netherlands, following the acquisition of a Dutch company, Protifarm. And you see there, insects are farmed in different trays, and all the operations are automated. So this is the first platform. The hardware, the equipment, the machines, the temperature also system, ventilation system, and the way to harvest and process the insects. But as we are managing so much flows and information, we have developed a second platform, being the software, the IT from where the operators are working to the ERP and the overall flow of information. Just to give you an example, on the next plant we are now building, it's going to be 1 billion of data that will be collected every day on this farm. And then, of course, the last platform is the biology. We are developing strong knowledge there to go deeper in understanding the beetle and the mealworms biology, from nutrition to health, but also genetics, with really recent, really interesting stuff that we will be releasing in January more broadly. So after the 2 farms in operation today, and with a growing demand from customers, we are now going onto a new very big plant. It's going to be the largest vertical farm in the world. You see, it's about 35 meters high, almost 40,000 square meters, operating in 22. And this is a real picture a few weeks ago to show that it's for real. It's not just 3D layouts. The construction now have 200 or 300 workers there every day and progressing on this very big milestone for the company and the insect sector. In a summary, what we have achieved so far, we are really a tech company. We have more than 300 now patents filed in the world on the process, on the products, on the applications. We are 250 people from a bit more than 20 nationalities in France, in the Netherlands, and now in the US. We have a strong demand from customers in fish feed, in pet food, in chicken feed, but also in plant fertilizers, and now growing in human nutrition. And it's 130 million contracted revenue and more than 800 million in the pipeline today. We have worked at European level with our counterparts and able to open the market, because nobody thought about insects in the past among authorities and member states. So we work with them and they have opened this the fish feed market, pigs and poultry feed market this year. Plant fertilizer and human food also market has been approved this year. That's exactly the conclusion. So a big customer traction. We are targeting this 1.5 billion revenues, which looks very big, but the target addressable market is beyond 2 trillion today in the world in animal feed, plant fertilizer, and human nutrition. And Ÿnsect will be a big contributor to the climate positive aspects, and we need to act now, and this is what we are doing at Ÿnsect.
Thank you so much, Antoine.